It's become more and more common for the avocation of censorship of anime and manga, and even topics like, is fan service even necessary for anime in 2025? And then you have people saying all art is political, like anime and manga is political, and so I think it's now a better time than ever to really discuss the elephant in the room, and that is the anime tourist problem. I have talked briefly about this in separate videos, but I think that it's very important to really talk about this because I feel like more or less I'm obligated to, especially since I've been at the heart of a lot of controversy as of late when it comes to gatekeeping, anime tourists, and just people getting legitimately upset about fan service in general, and me trying to fight for artists or creators being able to express themselves within their art in any way they want, even if that content might be problematic to some people, which is from the words of Ellen historian himself, which, let me just play this real quick before I go any further.
Perfect. For example, if I criticize something like Mushoku Tensei or Rudius, who, let's be honest, has some really problematic aspects, these anti-tourists will get mad at me, dismiss everything I say, then label me the tourist. And it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. I read the entire novel. And as for anime in general...
So, before we go any further, can we talk about how he says that Mushoku Tensei, Rudy, is problematic? He's a problematic character. And he does go on even further in this video to point out that Mushoku is a very problematic series, has a lot of problems, or tries to normalize problematic elements. But then he literally says, even though it's problematic, I critically consume it, so it's okay. And I'm just like, dude. Oh my goodness. Like, I'm gonna leave it at that one. But let's get into the main topic, and that is anime tourist. So you might have heard about this topic already from Joey, actually. He made a video 13 days ago called The Anime Tourist Problem. And he had a 24-minute video, as you can see. It's a really good video, actually, and he breaks down the good, the bad, and kind of the inevitable of why anime is like it is, or why the anime and manga community is like it is. And, there is, at this point, honestly, no stopping the train that has been set in motion. More on that in a moment. But the point is that Joey made this video many days ago, about almost 2 weeks ago, and it caused quite a stir, and it's starting to build a lot of traction now, especially on TikTok and Twitter, and basically a lot of people are upset with him, even talking about gatekeeping anime tourists, and, a lot of people right now are trying to say Joey is a messed up individual because of this clip, and I'm gonna play this clip because it's gaining a lot of traction, especially on TikTok, and I feel like it's important to really show this before I go any further.
Video, he actually compares anime tourists to the colonization of the Americas. Are we serious right now? You are really comparing anime becoming mainstream to the death of millions and countless atrocity.
My guy, chill.
Okay, so before I let Joey speak, I'm going to say this right now. Joey was making an analogy. He wasn't trying to make it political. He wasn't trying to, undermine anything that happened in history. He was just talking about how people come into a culture and they change it. They literally force it to change. That's literally what he was pretty much saying. And the fact that TikTok is taking like a 30-second to 40-second clip from a 24-minute video and running it and trying to smear Joey is just so disingenuous. It's wild. But anyways, let me let Joey speak here before I go any further.
It's not that deep. May I remind you, we are literally talking about Japanese cartoons. It's really not that deep, okay? I'm sorry you feel that way, but completely misconstruing the point that I made,
Yep.
Not understanding what an analogy is, all
Yep.
from a 30-second Twitter clip
Like I said,
that comes from a 24-minute YouTube video and making it way too overly political for your own good is just not my problem, okay? You've been watching too much anime. You've been on the internet for far too long, so why don't we put the phone down slowly, go outside, bask in a little bit of vitamin D, and just relax for a little bit, okay?
My man just told him to touch grass.
Maybe go out there and read a book.
He told him to touch grass.
A light novel, perhaps, since you seem to enjoy those. But either way, just relax, okay? It's really not that deep.
So, It's interesting that Joey says this, okay? Like, he was responding to Ellen Historian, because the other day I had a run-in with this man as well. And as you can see here, he commented on my post, hot take, if you think fan service doesn't belong in anime and manga, you shouldn't be in the anime community. And he made pretty much this whole TikTok video pretty much saying that fan service, you know, why are people defending fan service and, you know, problematic elements and all that, you know, anime isn't perfect. And this entire thing that Ellen tries to talk about here, he tries to say that I'm saying anime is perfect, and I have never once justified and said anime is perfect. But the thing is that wanting to remove an element that is ingrained in the very DNA of anime and manga is what Joey himself was even talking about. That, like, you're a tourist. You're someone that is trying to come into the culture and fundamentally change it and remove what makes anime and manga anime and manga. Eventually, Ellen Historian makes a response to Joey saying, like, you know, chill out, and he says, responding to the anime man on the anime tourist versus colonization analogy, is anime inherently political? Yes, it is. And obviously, I looked at this, I was disgusted, and I was like, anime is not inherently political, full stop. And basically, he decided to respond to me, and as you can see here, the rise of anti-intellectualism in the anime community is very concerning. Many of you dismiss the deeper themes and political messages in shows often as a way to cope. And as soon as I saw this, I'm just like, this is the very reason why people don't like tourists. Like, why people want to gatekeep. It's because not everything is political. Not all art is political. But on top of that, it gets into the point of what Joey was talking about and the disingenuous nature of what a lot of these new anime fans, especially thanks to COVID, are doing to the community. And so I think it's a perfect time than ever to really segue into this topic and really get into the heart of the issue of what is kind of been going on as of late. So first off, we need to talk about, in general, the low-hanging fruit that is fan service and censorship. This is very ingrained in the conversation as of late, because obviously with what we've seen in the last few months, or years at this point, there is an active push for anime and manga to censor itself, for certain content within it to be censored. And nowadays, you have individuals that used to bully kids back in the early 2000s or 2010s, jumping into the anime and manga community and reading things, and they're like, okay, this surface level stuff is good, but if you watch or read the wrong series, then obviously you're going to get bullied or you're going to be called a PDF or whatever. That is the new anime and manga community in the last 5 to 6 years. You have those bullies that used to think all anime and manga was cringe or call you a loser. They actively jumped into the community, and now instead of not ever interacting with the community, they're in the community and trying to mold it, shape it, change it, and twist it into something that is no longer anime and manga. And I feel like I need to summarize this in a better way. So basically, imagine you look at anime. You're a mega fan of anime, and it has this content in it that might have, like, a fan service. It might not have fan service. Let's say it has adult themes. Let's say it has themes that, you know, a lot of people might consider icky, so to speak. And just because it makes you uncomfortable doesn't mean that that content shouldn't necessarily be there. It's like Berserk, for instance. Berserk does have a lot of uncomfortable content, but it's there. It's there for the story. It's there because the artist and author wanted it to be there. There is no other explanation. There doesn't need to be another explanation. If the artist and author wanted it there, it's there. It's their work. It's their story. That's the end of discussion right there. And the point is if it makes you uncomfortable and you really don't like that content, do not interact with that content. Do not dive into that content. Do not read or watch that content. But if it makes you uncomfortable and you still read it, then you don't really have a reason to complain. Which gets back into Ellen Historian and how he was deeming, like, Mushoku Tensei, for instance, very problematic, and basically things need to be just, you know, like, ruined or removed, so to speak, because it's problematic or trying to normalize certain things. And I'm just like, no, if you don't like the content, don't interact with it. Just stop. Full stop. Just don't read it. Don't watch it. Just stop. Because obviously it's not meant for you. The content's not meant for you, or the story or manga, anime, whatever is not meant for you. Just full stop. And it's like, normalize. If you want to know anything that needs to be normalized, normalize not interacting with media that you don't like or upsets you. That's what people need to normalize, besides just gatekeeping as well, which is very important, but that is something that needs to be normalized. But I'm going on a tangent. The big point here is that there is a lot of people now, an active push for a lot of character designs and stuff in like modern day shonen and anime mainstream shows to have censored designs. And I think a very important one is this design right here and how her suit was changed. And it's a very subtle change, and not a lot of people even realize this change, but it is a change fundamentally. And the fact that you have people literally saying they fixed her design is so disrespectful, because it is censorship. It is. Like, if you look at the original design, I'll probably have a picture on the screen for you to see. If you look at the design, she does have skin showing, just her arms and legs, and it doesn't really show anything besides that, and it's clearly a reference from, like, old TV movies and stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. There is active designs that are very similar to it, and the point is that you have people wanting the character design to change because it upsets them that a female character is showing some form of skin, and they will go out of their way to call it fixed. And that is why the topic of fan service is so important, is because you have these individuals seeping into the community, trying to change it, smooth down the edges of anime and manga, and then once they do that, they're going to creep even further and get other aspects they deem problematic removed. And that is an inherent issue. That is the reason why Joey used the analogy of basically colonists, people trying to come into the community and trying to change it fundamentally from the ground up, because we have seen this. We have seen now that there's even activists within the anime and manga community, within major companies, even in Japan, we have seen this, with the whole Bochi drama as well. So I think fundamentally, I feel like anime tourists are a big problem. They are not fans, and I think that if you want to know what is labeled a tourist, it doesn't matter how long you're an anime fan. You could be an anime fan for 20 to 25 years, okay? If you're someone that thinks, like, fan service and stuff is problematic, and you continue to interact with the form of media, and you think it needs to be removed, that is a tourist. That is a tourist because it has always been in the anime and manga community since the 60s, 50s, 40s, whatever. It's been a long time, way before I was even born, and removing that fundamentally is very disrespectful, not just to anime and manga, but these artists, these animators that have been working on many different series for decades. It is extremely disrespectful to change things. And one of the other things is the reason why anime and manga is so popular is because it's different. It's because it is not like the West. And that is a fundamental thing that I think breaks down any argument against what I'm talking about, is that the reason why anime has risen in popularity is because people are tired of the storytelling within the West. From Hollywood, from Disney, from Marvel, from DC. People are tired of those type of stories, these safe stories that don't really do a lot or do a lot of different unique things. And that is why I think a lot of people have gravitated towards anime, because fundamentally, anime is different. The storytelling's different, the jokes are different, the character designs are different, the art style is different, the animation is different, the culture is different. It is just different all around. And you have these people coming into this community that, you know, are jumping in and are like, okay, I like this, but I want it to be more like how the West does things. And that fundamentally will remove what made such a culture unique for so long. And that's the thing. The thing that Joey talks about in his video, which I think is very important, which I want to highlight, he talks about how it's inevitable and there's really no stopping it. And I think that this is very true for a variety of reasons, because anime has reached a point of such mainstream level that there is no putting the, covering the box or closing Pandora's box. It is now officially open. We're never going to go back to the time period to where anime is niche and small. It's never going to be like those days ever again in the early 2000s, 90s, 80s, 2010s as well. It's never going to go back to those days. It's going to now be a big form of media that is going to continue to expand and explode, and the only way to effectively combat some bad actors within the industry is by just calling this type of stuff out. So the point is if we don't call this stuff out as it's happening and as it's getting worse, then everything we know and love from anime and manga will change and no longer be what we know and love. So yes, I don't like anime tourists. I think they are I'm going to be honest, they are an issue, a huge issue within the anime and manga community. And I feel like one big group that is tourist-like is actually the Chainsaw Man community, which is kind of wild, honestly. I feel like the Chainsaw Man community one gets me the most, because Fujimoto Sensei is such a wild author. Like, if you've read, like, Fire Punch, for instance, before Chainsaw Man, he's a crazy author. He's unhinged, and I love that. And it's insane to me there's so many people, like, dive into, like, Chainsaw Man, for instance, that's so Puritan. They absolutely loathe like, adult content, sexualized content, or anything. They love it, when Chainsaw Man is just all about that. There's just so much content like that, but they absolutely love it. Like, they will literally wish death upon people, or dox people for even mentioning that Chainsaw Man has a lot of fan service, or sexualized content. And it's crazy how Chainsaw Man as a community has gotten such a Puritan fan base. And you have a lot of these mainstream shows that are getting stuff like that, which gets into the whole, why are you interacting with content that you deem problematic still? Like, it's weird. I'll leave it at that, though. I went on a tangent. I wanted to talk about this. I felt it was incredibly important. But I love you guys. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, helps with the algorithm. But, Chibi out.